Hi everybody. In that theme personality development, we have already gone through attitude is altitude, where that wonderful personality Nick Vujicic started inspiring people traveling across the world. At the end of that lesson, he said if he could change even a single person's life, made him optimistic, positive minded, gives him courage, hope, then Nick felt his work in this life is done. After that, the second lesson is every success story is also a story of great failures. We have to understand the title. Every success story is also a story of great many failures. What does it mean? If at all we want to succeed, no doubt we should be ready to face failures. Let us take the help of the textbook and those brief success stories. Every success story is also a story of great failures. Unless we fail greatly, we cannot succeed. Failure is the highway to success. Tom Watson Sr. said, if you want to succeed, double your failure rate. If you want to succeed, double your failure rate. A gentleman, a wonderful personality, he failed not twice, not thrice, 4 times or 5 times. Almost all more than 8 to 10 times he failed before becoming the President of the United States of America. He is none other than Abraham Lincoln. If you study history, you will find that all stories of success are also stories of great failures. But people don't see the failures, of course. People don't see the failures. No, people don't remember Abraham Lincoln for his failures. Only he would be remembered as the one of the wonderful presidents America has had. They only see one side of the picture and they say that person got lucky. He must have been at the right place at the right time. The society makes a comment saying that he succeeded because he is at the right place at the right time. But to reach that right place and to be there in that right time, to make the time right, how much struggle he has gone through, nobody knows and nobody bothers, because they only see one side of the picture and say that that person got lucky. Let me share someone's life history with you. This was a man who failed in business at the age of 21. At 21, he failed in his business. At 22, legislative race. Again business, 24. At overcome the death of his sweetheart at age 26. When he was eagerly waiting to share his life with the one whom he loved the most, he lost that sweetheart when he was 26. He had a nervous breakdown at 27, lost a congressional race at 34, lost a senatorial race at 45, failed in an effort to become vice president at the age of 47, lost a senatorial race at 49, and finally he was elected president of the United States of America when he was 52. Now, the world doesn't remember all those 8-9 failures. It only remembers his success of becoming the president of United States of America. This man was Abraham Lincoln. Would you call him a failure? Would you call him a failure? No, we wouldn't. He could have quit, equal to he didn't quit. But to Lincoln, defeat was a detour and not a dead end. Defeat is not a dead end. It is a long route to reach the destination for Abraham Lincoln. And this is not any exclusive privilege Abraham Lincoln only had. Taking failure is not a dead end, it is a long route to reach the destination. For that matter, you and I also can develop such a attitude of accepting the failures and challenges. This is one small story about that wonderful personality, Abraham Lincoln. That is one success story. Now, the second story goes this way. In 1913, Leedy Forrest, the inventor of the Triodes tube, was charged by the district attorney for using fraudulent means to mislead the public into buying stocks of his company by claiming that he could transmit the human voice across the Atlantic. This Leedy Forrest, who invented the triode, without that invention, this electronics would not have developed this far, would not have reached this far. That Leedy Forrest in 1930, when he went to the public and asked their financial support to start a company, where he promised them that he could make human voice transmit across the Atlantic. No doubt, he was humiliated and he was charged not by uneducated people. He was charged by a district attorney. Attorney means lawyer. He was publicly humiliated. Can you imagine where we would be without his invention? Okay, as I told you, now those diodes and triodes, they were responsible for that cathode ray tube, CRT. Earlier televisions, they were very bulky and all. And those bulky televisions now, of course, they have become very thin and all. The reason is, from diodes and triodes, we have come to microchips and microprocessors and all. But the beginning is Leedy Forrest's invention of that triode. But he was publicly humiliated and charged by the law agencies. And the third story is Wright brothers, because they told the public that they would design a machine that is heavier than air and that would fly also. A small speck of sand or small piece of paper, if we keep it in the air, hardly takes time to reach the ground. If that is the knowledge of those days, then you could imagine when they promised that they would design an engine heavier than air and that would be in the air. Not only would it be in the air, but also that would fly from point A to point B. They too were criticized in a newspaper editorial. A New York Times editorial on December 10th, 1903 questioned the wisdom of the Wright brothers, Wilbur Wright and Orville Wright, okay, who are the designers of that aeroplane, who were trying to invent a machine heavier than air that would fly. Of course, they didn't bother about that newspaper article, editorial and all. They didn't pay much attention to that wonderful newspaper, New York Times editorial. So, we should stop doing our job and all. No, they didn't allow that knowledge of that newspaper stop them. So, after 1 week, at Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers took their famous flight. That was the beginning of aviation. The fourth one, Colonel Sanders. You all might have had your fried chicken. If not, at least you may have heard about KFC, that is Kentucky Fried Chicken. That actually was by Colonel Sanders. When he was 65 old and was just getting by $100 check from Social Security, that is pension and all, a bet-up car, it means almost all used car. That time he decided that he should do something, and he remembered the recipe his mother knew and taught him. With that recipe, he knocked on many doors to sell that recipe, but no door was open to him. Almost all, more than 1,000 doors, he says, he might have knocked before he got the first opportunity. He remembered his mother's recipe and went out selling. How many doors did he have to knock on before he got his first order? It is estimated that he had knocked on more than 1,000 doors before he got his first order. 1,000 doors. How many of us quit after 3 tries? 10 tries, 100 tries. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe thrice, maybe 4 times, maybe 5 times, not more than that. How many of us would try 100 times, 1000 times? Just by trying once or twice, maybe thrice, we declare that I did my best. Okay. And then we say we tried as hard as we could. That is not the reality. The reality is we could have done better, okay, by taking the lessons from that failures. The fifth one, as a young cartoonist, Walt Disney faced many rejections from a newspaper editors who said that he had no talent. This Mickey Mouse designer, that Walt Disney, the children's cartoon character, famous loving cartoon character, that Mickey Mouse, that Walt Disney, he approached many newspaper editors so that his cartoons could be published in that newspaper. But they said he had no talent. One day, a minister at a church hired him to draw some cartoons. Minister does mean here that a church official. That church official, he wanted him to draw some cartoons, maybe on the chapel. Disney was working out a small house infested shed near the church. Near the church, he was working in a small house. That house was infested with the mouse. And a mouse on its wandering inspired Walt Disney, hence the beginning of that cartoon character Mickey Mouse. That was the start of the Mickey Mouse. Successful people don't do great things, they only do small things in a great way. It is worth repeating. Successful people, they don't do great things, they do small things in a great way. Such inspiring sentence, one or two we came to know in the first lesson also, that is attitude is altitude. I only pay attention to those things which I have. I don't complain against those I don't have. He said that here. One day, a particular partially deaf 4-year-old kid came home with a note in his pocket from his teacher. This is about Thomas Alva Edison. When he was just 4, his teacher, writing something on a piece of paper and pushing it into his pocket, sent him home. When he came home, his mother took out that piece of paper and read, on which it was written that your Tommy is too stupid to learn. Please get him out of school. Mother, out of her motherly nature and love and affection towards her son, maybe she knew well about her son, because mother is the first teacher. So in reply, she said, no, my Tommy is not stupid. Now let me teach. I'll teach him. And saying so, she made him what he is. He is only known as inventor of the inventors. He only had 3 months of formal schooling. What do you mean by formal schooling? Going to academic institutions, sitting in the classrooms, getting lessons from the teachers and all, that is known as formal schooling. He had only just 3 months of formal schooling. My Tommy is not stupid to learn. I'll teach him myself. And that Tommy grew up to be the great Thomas Alva Edison. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal schooling and he was partially deaf. Henry Ford forgot to put the reverse gear in the first car he made. Of course, Ford car. Okay. So he forgot to put the reverse gear in his first car. Do you consider these people failures? No, we don't. They succeeded in spite of problems, not in the absence of them. Not that there were no problems. In spite of having problems, they succeeded. But to the outside world, it appears as though they just got lucky. No doubt, the society, the outside world says that he got lucky. All success stories are stories of great failures. Of course, it is a title only. There it is singular, it is in plural, that's all. Every success story is also a story of great many failures, and all success stories are stories of great failures. The only difference is that every time they failed, they bounced back. All these are successful people. Successful people doesn't mean that they have never failed. In fact, they have failed many times more than the failed people. This is called failing forward. not failing backward. What do you mean by failing forward? Failing forward, it does mean that make a mistake, learn from that mistake and move forward. That is known as failing forward. You learn and move forward. Learn from your failure and keep moving. The same Thomas Alva Edison, when he was 67, he lost his factory, his lifetime effort to a fire, and age was not on his side, and his lifetime effort reduced to ashes. That time, what he said, that shows his attitude. There is a great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burnt up. Thank God we can start anew. All our mistakes are burnt up. Now we can very well start anew. Not only did he say so, but also he proved it by inventing phonograph. Just 3 weeks later that fire accident. What an attitude. And below are a few examples of failures of successful people. Like Thomas Alva Edison failing 10,000 times before giving that full shape to that electric bulb. Henry Ford was broke at the age of 40. And Leo Coca was fired by Henry Ford at the age of 54. Beethoven, who was said to be not having any knowledge about music and all, gave the world the best music. Setbacks are inevitable in life. Setbacks means failures. Failures are no doubt, they are inevitable. They cannot be avoided in life. A setback can act as a driving force and also teach us humility. A setback, a failure, no doubt, they teach us humility. They would make us humble. In grief, you will find courage and faith to overcome the setback. We need to learn to become victors, not victims. We need to learn how to become victors, not victims. Fear and doubt short circuit the mind. Okay. A faulty wiring, the way a faulty wiring would short circuit our appliances and make them useless, all these costly appliances. If the wiring is faulty and if it is short circuited, no doubt our costly appliances would go useless. Here, psychologically, mentally, okay, our fears, our doubts, whether we can or cannot, doubts, fear, what the society would think, or any other fear, this fear and doubt, no doubt, they short circuit our mind. Ask yourself after every setback, what did I learn from this experience? It is guaranteed that we would fail. We face challenges, we face difficulties. But he says, after every difficulty, challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this failure? Only then will you be able to turn a stumbling block into a stepping stone. Otherwise, simply it would be a saying that failures are the stepping stones to success. In what way? Failures are the stepping stones to success. Unless we use those failures to learn from that mistakes and try anew, afresh, be ready to make the new mistakes, then those failures can never become the stepping stones to our success. Otherwise, it will remain as a proverb. That's all. Ask yourself after every setback, what did I learn from this experience? Only then will you be able to turn a stumbling block into a stepping stone. The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose. What is required to achieve any purpose, to reach any goal, to accomplish anything? That is very burning desire. The desire should burn us. Abdul Kalam says that dream does mean that they won't make you sleep. Such type of dreams, no doubt, we only can have once we have that burning desire to achieve something. Napoleon Hill, a personality development trainer and writer, okay, of Astor years, what he said, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. ABC. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The achievement is only possible after the belief and conception. A young man asked Socrates the secret to success. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river the next morning. So, most of you might have heard this story from your teachers, and all this through this social media and all. A young man went to Socrates, the Greek philosopher, to know the secret to success. That philosopher philosophically asked the young man to meet him there at the river next morning, and the young man did so, and taking the young man into the water, when they were at neck deep, this strong philosopher put his hand on his head and ducked him into the water. That young man, being not as strong as Socrates, could not relieve himself from that tight grip of that Socrates. He ducked and ducked and ducked into the water, and a moment came that young man almost all turned to blue for wanting of air oblique oxygen. That time, releasing his air, Socrates, philosophically smiling, looked at him. The young man came out of water, and immediately he gasped for air. And that time, this wonderful teacher, who taught him practically, asked the young man what he wanted when he was there in that water. The only one answer. Okay, no left, right, and top, bottom. Single answer the young man gave to this philosopher: A-I-R, air. The same way, if you want to be successful, the way you wanted air the most when you were ducked into the water, underwater, the way you wanted the air. Similarly, if you wanted the success in your life, you can be successful. Otherwise, there is no shortcut to success. There may be shortcuts to any other damn thing, but certainly to become successful, there are no shortcuts. Practical lesson that young man got. What did you want the most when you were there? The boy replied, air. Socrates said, that is the secret to success. That's all. When you want success as badly as you wanted the air, then you will get it. There is no other secret. A burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. To accomplish anything, the starting point is burning desire. Just like a small fire cannot give much heat. The winter season, a small fire, it cannot give much heat. Hardly you may warm up yourself. Whereas your friends and all, okay, who are in number, so they cannot get that required warmth from that small fire. Same way, if our desire is weak, okay, our achievement also would be very, very small. So just like a small fire cannot give much heat, a weak desire cannot produce great results. If you think, poem by another personality development trainer of present days, Shiv Kera, who penned that wonderful book, You Can Win. You can win. If you think you are beaten, you are beaten. Before being beaten, if you think that, okay, you are beaten, no doubt you will be beaten. If you think you dare not, you don't dare. If you like to win but think you cannot, it is almost a cinch you won't. You want to win but you think you cannot, it is guaranteed that you will not win. Because you thought you couldn't, so you wouldn't. If you think you will lose, you are already lost. For out in the world, we find success begins with the fellow's will. It is all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are outclassed. You have got to think high to rise. You have got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man. They always go to the man who wins. Is the man who thinks that he can. The person who thinks he can win. Only the person who will win. He says in this small poem. So, if you think you can or if you think you cannot, you are right. If you think you can, you can. If you think you cannot, you cannot. So, the outside success always starts with the inside attitude. So, with this lesson, we have finished our second reading. That is, every success story is also story of a great many failures. Let us see in the next class in what way he did it. Who? Mr. N.R. Narayana Murthy. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.